Off the back of three albums actually in a 10-year career and five EPs, a new album on the horizon. We've got Lapsley on the show. Good morning, Lapsley. How are we doing?
Morning, I'm good. How are you?
I love that you've got so much already in such 10 years. It's not really a long time, but it's a long time to get that amount of records and singles and EPs and various other things. But we'll talk about all of those in a minute. I have to first ask you how you got into music, and I know roughly 2014 you were releasing music publicly, but were you doing music before that, or was that kind of the time to be doing it?
Yeah, I mean, I was always like playing loads of instruments when I was in high school. And that was, I remember that was at the time when the Labour government was like really putting money behind like state school kids getting into music. So all of that funding's actually gone now, which is wild. But off the back of that, I was just like, I got into electronic music and then I realized that I could play all the different parts that were needed. And so kind of like accidentally fell into production. Um, And then I started helping produce for a band when I was like 15, 16, and they were a bit older than me. This is when I um in a little place called Formby. Um and I think through that process of working with people, I realized that I could do my own projects and I don't really have to like be directed by like other people for, what their production and writing goals were. Like I can just like do my own. So then, yeah, so then I started putting stuff on SoundCloud under Låpsley. And then off the back of that, when I was 17, it then just went viral on SoundCloud and then I got signed. So it was a bit of a whirlwind, I'd say, from like 14 to 17. Yeah.
Uh, how old were you when you were releasing music back in 2014?
I was 17.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you were quite young, so I mean that must have been quite daunting as well at 17. It was quite frightening because once you start and put music out there, you start and get feedback. You're then expected to go out and perform and do gigs and things. What did that feel like at that age?
I mean, it was a bit nutty, I have to say. Like, I think, I mean, it's funny now as like a 28-year-old looking back, and I really didn't know myself, but I definitely took every opportunity that went my way, like by the horns. Like, I said yes to everything that came my way, like, um, and off the back of that, like, I jumped straight into an amazing record deal and managed to travel the world in a way that I don't think I'll ever be able to do now, like later on in my career. So yeah, it was crazy in hindsight.
And the music industry in 10 years has changed quite a lot. It's all digital now. There's not much,
Mm.
from when I was younger, it was all CDs and obviously before that tapes and then obviously LPs and all that's coming back to light now, but it is mostly digital. So releasing music is pretty much available all over the world. You must get feedback from some strange places, because like I said, music's quite universal, but it spreads out quite far and wide, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, back in the day, when I was with XL Recordings, they were proper global releases with a hard push on like LP sales and CD sales. And I remember we always did like a limited edition CD just for Japan. And we did like a limited edition vinyl for Vinyl Me Please and for like Urban Outfitters and stuff. And I feel like vinyl's something that's continued and grown. CDs have now wavered out. Like we're not, this is the first album I'm not doing CDs for. So that feels like a big shift. But yeah, the even from back then, like people were buying on iTunes and now it's all streaming. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's hard.
it's a strange world, isn't it? Things are moving
Yeah.
in strange directions. Are you a collector at all? Do you collect LPs or anything?
Oh, well, maybe you can see.
Oh, wow.
Got loads of vinyls up the side. So I guess like over the last 10 years, but I feel like I always need time ahead of me to actually listen to my vinyls. Like I've got the player. But like I end up putting the same ones on for relaxation at the end of the day. So I'm not really like someone who's like digging for like the hottest new like Brazilian funk stuff. It's like I'll put the Bon Iver record or the Caribou or whatever to try and relax at the end of the day. So that's my Zen zone.
I was going to ask you what sort of music that does Lapsley listen to on a daily basis. Is there any particular artists that influence the music that you do?
Oh yeah, loads. I'd say it's funny because like production is so much of like a trend, whereas like writing is quite like a timeless thing. So I guess what I listen to is a mixture between like the timeless writers like the Joni Mitchell and the Kate Bush, and the Bob Dylan to then like people who are at the front end of like changing production, like James Blake or Caribou or OK Lou and Sega Bodega. So the mixture, the combination between the two is kind of like my musical education, I think.
Fantastic. I've got to ask you as well, where does the name Lapsley come from?
Oh, it's my middle name. It's from Scotland.
Okay, so it is
Yeah.
connected because I mean sometimes people just come up with random names, but if it's your middle name, it makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So many people ask me that. And they're like, do you want to be called Holly or Lapsley? And I'm like, well, it's my middle name, so everyone's called me that anyway, so it kind of doesn't make a difference. But I added the angstrom on the A when I was like 16. And so everyone thinks I'm Swedish, but in some ways it's kind of benefited me because I probably do look Swedish.
It's quite unique, makes it more unique though, doesn't it? Stands out a bit more.
Yeah.
So, like I mentioned, you've got three albums that have been released since 2014. The first album you released before a couple of days before lockdown. I mean, that must have been a bit of an experience.
Oh yeah, the second album, yeah.
Oh, sorry,
I was on
second album.
yeah, I was on a panel last night because t talking about that because that was when my entire career changed after that record and we it was just after we'd done a world press tour. Um and then the album came out, lockdown hit, and suddenly the whole campaign fell apart. And off the back of that, like I lost my agents, I lost my management, I got dropped by XL. The whole world changed. It was like the worst case scenario for like releasing an album. And yeah, it was my like for me that was like the start of my career, that second record. And it has such a like it's such a place in my heart. I love that record. But from then I've had to like build up my career like again since lockdown. And now we're back at that level again, but it's been a proper journey. Like lockdown really hit myself and loads of my peers like super hard.
Yeah, it was a terrible time. It feels like it was a long, long time ago, but really, realistically, it was only a few years ago. So it
It was
still feels,
5 years ago.
yeah,
Yeah,
it feels
crazy.
weird, doesn't it? It feels like it was like 15, 20 years ago, where it really wasn't.
Yeah.
Forget about those times. It was awful. We've moved past that now, and it's nice to be back out and being able to do gigs. I assume again.
Oh, so good. When I the last record which came out like 2 years ago now, when I finally got back on tour with that, it was such a feeling of relief. And also to be like back out with the fans that never got to see me because the second album tour was cancelled. Yeah. And I'm obsessed with performing live in a way that I was always quite anxious before lockdown, I think, about it. And I think that's maybe just because I was a teenager and I hadn't put the years in. But now it's just like it's a seasoned skill and we have such a huge amount of fun with the band. And we're taking like I'll be on tour at the end of the year and we're taking like the full band for that one, which will be sick.
Sounds exciting. I can't wait. Like I said, you've got three albums, five EPs, quite a few singles that I can see publicly. It doesn't seem like you're short of music. How do you find the time to record it all and come up with new tracks? How does it work?
I don't stop working. So I run a label now. So that's and the team's based in the States, so that's my evenings taken up. And then my afternoons are I write for other people. Um, so that's quite hectic. Like I'm writing for Paloma Faith's new album at the moment, which is why I was like, let's do the thing in the morning. And then if I'm working on the Lapsley project, I usually put that into a few weeks at a time. Like this record was finished in South Africa, and I went over for 3 weeks and smashed it out. So it's very like condensed bursts of energy. But I think what came out of like forcing yourself to make the whole record within those weeks was like a record that kind of sounds like a concept album. I don't think this upcoming record sounds like anything I've made before, um, in a really sick way. Like it's a lot more like indie 80s big band shit. So yeah, stuff.
Exciting.
Right.
Obviously, the new album is on the horizon, which we're going to talk about in a second. But compare that to the first album that you released, which I believe was called Long Way Home. How different is it in terms of you being an artist? Have you developed quite a lot since then? And has the music changed at all since then?
Yeah, massively. I'd say like I was such a little raver back in the day, and that's where my initial production and writing kind of landed in. It was quite minimal, but the statements of the vocals were like super emotional. And then as I became like a more, I don't want to say like an advanced writer, but like as I got to know myself more and work on my art, I slowly started to reveal more. So the songs are getting like less and less minimal like through the albums, and it's kind of culminated in this record, which is taking a step away from electronic music and more into the indie alternative, and is much more of a reference of like all of the 80s influences that I've had across my entire life. Um, but yeah, way more maximalist.
So lots more instruments and things to learn, I assume, along the way.
Yeah, yeah, tons more instruments. Like before, it used to just be me and like a drum machine and a keyboard, and now it's like we're bringing in a drummer. There's tons of guitar on this record. Yeah, it's sick.
And you said that you've got your own record label as well now. What made you decide to set up your own record label?
I think what I was talking about before in terms of like when everything like was taken away from me during lockdown, it was a bit of a turning point for me. That was when I decided to take on the second career and become a writer, which I always wanted to do. And then I also started to plant the seeds for like starting my own label, which I was only really able to properly do and get the funding for last year. Um, so yeah, so this will be like the first record released on that. But having complete creative control, like I don't, not many people know, but like when you go through a record label, you have this person called an A&R, and they kind of like dictate and direct the project. And now I'm running my own label. There's no one above me in that sense. And so it is like true creative freedom and control in the best way. Although now my emails are ridiculous and now I'm like effectively like head of HR in my own company, but like the payoff for that is a record that is 100% my say, which is
And
sick.
will you be working with more artists and things with the record label?
Yeah, that's the goal. It's funding dependent. So basically, off the back of the stats of this record, I'll be able to attract more funding because I'm like 100% independent and I'm not taking money off anyone else. Like things are moving quite slowly, in a good way because it means that I don't have to like sell out to anyone or like sell off a part of the company. Um, but yeah, yeah, just next year will probably be the start of that.
Exciting. Sounds like there's going to be a lot of work involved as well.
Yeah. Yeah, my favorite.
So the new album lands on 2nd of May. It's called I'm a Hurricane, I'm a Woman in Love. Tell me about the album. What can listeners expect?
Oh, it's about a love triangle and it's very like Fleetwood Mac in that sense. And it kind of like documents a relationship from when I first met this person and then we expanded it and I was in like a three-person relationship. And then we decided that the one of the people was going to leave the love triangle, and then now we're engaged. But that other person was the person I made the record with, the producer. And so it's this crazy album about love and loss. And despite that being quite a unique situation, I think so many people will be able to take loads from this record about the realities and the complexities of love for different people in different ways. Um, yeah, I think it's my best album yet, and I never back myself like that. But like, yeah, I'm really excited to see what you think of it.
The album cover's very, it gives me female goddess vibes. Is that kind of the aim of what you're wanting the whole album to feel like, in a sense?
Yeah, I think there's like, I'm not trying to paint my story as like a beautiful story. It's like my story in this album has light and dark in it, and I feel like I wanted to show the honesty and the power of like a female love story in all of its complexities. And so for me, like like going back to like female goddesses and like the women that we put on a pedestal, there's always like a dark and a light side to it. So it's kind of like, yeah, it's kind of like raw feminine energy. So that's kind of what I channeled. And then also going down the Scottish heritage thing and like Boudica and all of that. And I'm wearing a wig, which is funny because I usually wear a wig for like all my meetings, but I was like, No, I'll just
El,
I'll be natural for this
El
one.
Natural.
Yeah, yeah.
No, it sounds really powerful, and I can't wait to hear it. If people want to pre-save that, I'm assuming they can do that already.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. If you go on my Instagram at Lapsley and or you go on the label website is heroinrecordings.com. There's all of the links for that. So yeah.
Fabulous. And obviously, that's how people can follow you and listen to the rest of your music as well. Your latest single, Better, we're going to talk about that now. Tell me about the song. Has the song got a story behind it?
Yeah, it's about when I met my fiance for the first time in Stoke Newington in East London. And it's about wanting to be a better person in this relationship than I have been in previous relationships, and also a better person for the sake of myself and everyone else around me. So it's a super optimistic song to kind of like kickstart the campaign with. And I also wanted to like tease the 80s aspect of the record with that one. Yeah.
It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, Lapsley. Best of luck with the new album. I'm assuming you'll be doing a bit of a tour. You'll be showcasing that across the year.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll be giving some like sneak peeks as to what's coming on my email sign up. So,
Fantastic. And again, all of that will be in your social media that people can find and sign up to.
thank you.